Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. It's so good to see you here. Please, before you continue, remember to like the video, share and subscribe. So, in today's video, we will be learning about passivization. Now this presentation is done by myself, Tevin, and Stephanie. So here we go. Passivization, what is it? Now, passivization in English grammar refers to the transformation of a sentence from an active voice to a passive voice.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Baldia Brown, and today we will be discussing the passive voice. And when we talk about voice in grammar, we are referring to the structure of the sentence. So, whenever we talk about voice within grammar, just remember the structure of the sentence. And in grammar, there are two voices, we have the active and we have the passive. But today we will be discussing the passive voice. Now, voice shows whether the subject of the sentence acts or is acted upon. That is, whether the subject is performed, whether the subject performs or receives the action of the verb.
Now, here's a picture showing you a simple example of how each would work. So, in the passive voice, as you can see, the mouse was eaten by the cat. However, in the active voice, a sentence would sound something like this. The mouse ate the cat. Okay? Now let's continue. Okay, let's go. Now, before I get to passivization, let's first get an understanding of the active voice, the active structure of sentences. So here we are. In an active voice sentence, the subject is clearly stated as the subject. So the structure would look something like this, as you can see. Subject, then verb, then object. All right? Now, just for you to note, the active voice uses less words. So here are some examples of the active voice. The woman will remember Tevin. Stephanie wrote an essay. Garland is drinking water. So in the last one, the subject is Garland, the verb drinking is drinking, and the object water. So you see the structure that we're following. So you have the subject, the verb, and the object. Now, let's move along.
Passive voice. So, in passive voice sentence, the object is given more importance than the subject or the doer. So, the structure of a passive sentence goes as follows: you have the object, the verb, which then follows the subject. Passive sentences aren't inherently incorrect. Most teachers discourage their use because passive sentences tend to be indirect and wordy. So, active voice tend to be direct sentences, and passive are indirect sentences. Passive voice is used in newspaper articles. So, if you read the newspaper articles, the news, you will see that they are spoken, they're written rather in the passive voice rather than the active voice.
Now, here are some examples. Tevin will be remembered by the woman. An essay is written by Stephanie. Water is being drunk by Garland. So as you can see how the structure changed. In passive voice, the verb is often followed by the word by, as you've noticed. And likewise, as you have noticed, the passive voice uses more words.
Usain Bolt is looked upon as a sporting icon by the people. An essay is written by Shania. Water is being drunk by him. Can you guess what voice these sentences are in? Is it a passive? Is it an active voice? What do you think?
All right, so I think by now you should be getting the gist of it. You should be able to differentiate between the active and the passive voice. Very good. So now we're going to jump into showing you how the pronouns change, whether you're using the active voice or the passive voice. So, first person singular I would become me in the passive voice. Second person singular you or it would remain as you and it. Third person singular he, she becomes him, her in the passive voice. All right. First person plural we becomes us. Second person plural you remains you. Third person plural they becomes them, as you can see. Now here's another example. In the active form, it is the professor teaches the students. But if we change it to the passive voice, it would sound and look something like this. The students are taught by the professor. Very good. I think you're catching on. Now here I have tables to show you how the structures are changed depending on the tense. Now here we have, as you can see, the simple present tense. So the structure in the active voice is subject, verb, object. In the passive voice, it becomes object, past participle, then by and subject, as you can see in the example. So in the active voice, this is what it would be. The professor teaches the students. Passive voice now, the students are taught by the professor. Yes. So what about the present continuous tense? Now, the active voice structure would be something like this: subject, then is, am, or are, followed by the ing form of the verb, and then the object. So I want you to pause the video. If I'm moving too fast, just pause the video and look at the table carefully. Now the passive voice would look something like this. The structure: object, then is, am, are, followed by being, followed by the past participle of the verb, and then by and subject. So it would look something like this. In the active voice, my boss is giving many assignments. Now, passive voice, many assignments are being given by my boss. You get the gist of it? So let's move along.
Present perfect tense in the passive voice. And the structure goes as follows: object, which follows have or has been, plus by the subject. So, for example, this is a sentence. He, which is the object, has or have been taken out by me. That's the example of the present perfect tense. Let us look at the simple past tense. Now, in the passive voice, the simple past tense structure goes as follows: the object plus was slash were plus the past participle plus by subject. An example goes as follows: a large house was built by him. A large house was built by him.
So we move now to the past continuous tense. Now the structure for the active voice is this: subject, then was or were, then the ing form of the verb, then the object. Now for the passive voice, the structure now becomes object, then was or were, plus being, plus the past participle of the verb, followed by subject. Understood? Remember, if I'm moving too fast, just pause the video. So the example reads, she was cooking dinner. That's active. She was cooking dinner. Now passive, dinner was being cooked by her. Dinner was being cooked by her. So we're getting the gist. Now let's move on to past perfect tense. Past perfect tense. Now, as you can see in the active voice, the structure is subject, then had, followed by the past participle of the verb, then the object. Now, in the passive voice, we have the object now is at the front, followed by had been plus the past participle, and then we have by subject. So the example goes like this: she had posted the letter. Very active. She had posted the letter. But if you want to be passive, you would say something like this: the letter had been posted by her. The letter had been posted by her. And we're getting the gist here. Don't worry, I'm going to give you some time at the end so you can do your own conversions from active to passive. But pay attention to me right now, okay? Let's move on. So now let's go to the future. We're going to look at simple future tense. So the active voice, the structure, subject, will plus the verb, and then the object. Passive, object, will be plus the past participle of the verb, and then by subject. So the example, simple future tense. I will give you a present. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, I will give you a present. Now, passive voice, a present will be given to you by me if you subscribe to my YouTube channel and like the video. You got that one? Good. Let's move on to the next one. All right, future perfect tense. Now, for the active voice, the structure is this: subject, then will or shall, plus have, plus past participle of the verb, then the object. Now, this one is a little trickier, so you have to pay attention. Now, for the passive voice, the structure is like this: the object, then we have will or shall, plus have been, plus the past participle of that verb, followed by subject. So the active voice example is the doctor will have examined 10 patients by 10 o'clock. Now, we want to say this somewhat passive, so we would say something like this. Say or write something like this: 10 patients will have been examined by 10 o'clock by the doctor. So you can see how the structure is changing, and we're still getting the message across. Now, I think you've done well in listening, so now it's time for you to do. So it's exercise time now, and it's your time to shine. Now, I want you to change the following active voice sentences to passive voice. Now, so I'm going to show you some active voice sentences, and you're going to change them to passive voice. Now, I'm going to give you just 5 seconds, okay? So you need to think of it right on the top of your head before I show the answer. But if you need more time, just pause the video. Here we go. He teaches English. 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, if you had this, you were correct. English is taught by him. Number 2, the child is eating bananas. If you had bananas are being eaten by the child, you were correct. Number 3, she will give you a letter. She will give you a letter. Now, how are you going to change this to passive? Let me see. Is this what you have? The letter will be given to you by her. Very good. Number 4, Tenil was doing the assignment. Yes, Tenil was doing the assignment. What is it going to be in the passive voice? Right, the assignment was being done by Tenil. I have more. Don't go anywhere. There's more. All right, number 5. They were writing poems. That's it. Poems were being written by them. Number 6. Who left the toilet seat up? Now, this is a little tricky one. I might have to give you some more time to figure this one out since it's a question. Who left the toilet seat up? If you got it right, then you got this. By whom was the toilet seat left up? Sounds like some old English, but yes, that's it. Number 7, and the final one. Somebody jerked chicken yesterday. Chicken was jerked by someone yesterday. Very good. So if you got all correct, clap yourself. Now I'm gonna give you some more. Now you have to change from the passive voice to the active voice. Let's see how well you do at this. Number 1. A blue shirt was worn by Zidane. I think this one is easy. I know you got it. Yeah, Zidane wore a blue shirt. Number 2. Those comments has been made by her. Can you get this one? Those comments has been made by her. Is this what you had? She has made those comments. Number 3, a smart lab is being built by the Micah. Let me see what you're gonna put. The Micah is building a smart lab. You're smart. You should go to that lab. Number 4, the test has been completed by me. Yeah. That's it. I have completed the test. All right, so I have a few more for you. Number 5, the grades were uploaded last week by her. What's it gonna be? She uploaded the grades last week. Very good. And number 6, a Black Forest cake was being bought by her. What's it gonna be? There you go. She was buying a Black Forest cake. And you know, there's one last one. A tricky one, a hard one. Let's see if you can get this one. 6 electric vehicles will have been bought by tomorrow by the Prime Minister. Let me give you some time. Let me give you some time on this one. Okay, here's the answer. The Prime Minister will have bought 6 electric vehicles by tomorrow. Wow, if you got it right, well done, well done. Now, we have come to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope this video has helped you to improve with the usage of your active and passive voice. Until next time, peace out.